they won fuck all, but they seem to be happy being professional footballers and earning loads of earning money and sort of being in and around,
living out their dreams.
Being thought of as being at a top club. But Manchester United, who had players that were only similarly talented, they weren't any more talented, but they had the mentality that they were winners, and that was and I think that comes through the club. And I look at Wigan and I look at Saints, and I think that the team, the players who play for Wigan and Saints, unless they're like homesick for Australia or for Featherstone, or they're wanting to go and test themselves in the NRL or whatever, they're scared to be surplus to requirements at those clubs. They're at the top clubs, and they're going to earn. That's where they're going to get their chances to win medals and to get their legacy. And they don't. And when the club's done with them and they send it's to something worse, so they don't want to leave. Whereas I feel like other clubs and like Warrington, we pander to our players a bit more. We're scared to lose them, and I think somehow that gives the players a little bit more power or something.
But conversely to that, this year, I think one of the things that I wanted to ask you about is you keep hearing about all the players that are off contract, 15 or 16 players off contract, key players off contract in that squad, and whether or not Powell's been given a year to work out which ones he wants and doesn't want, and then build his own squad, and being given that time to do that. Has that unsettled people, and maybe they haven't felt like they're a part of the Powell thing, so they thought, sod you, I'm not buying into the new culture you're trying to create because I don't know that you want me, sort of thing, maybe. Whereas before they'd have felt wanted, but that kind of made them soft. Yeah,
but that's a weak mentality, because you need to show that you're worth. Why not show Powell that you're worth a contract? Why not show other clubs that you're worth a contract to come in and try and poach you and give you a contract for next year? If you just sat there sort of sticking your lip out, that is the sign of a weak mentality to me. And I don't know if that's what's happening. I think Daryl Clark doesn't look fit. He's probably not fit. He's already had an operation in the off season. He's also playing behind a beaten pack every single week. So
what's happened to that pack? Obviously Chris Hill's gone, but Rob Mulhern's kind of filled that void that he was expected to in a way. I thought Rob Butler would do more. You signed Billy Magoulas or whatever is however you pronounce it. Mike Cooper's still there. Mike Cooper's still every week in our stats roundup. He still does what Mike Cooper does, but he's obviously not doing it well enough. Jason Clark's still there. He's still a good player.
Yeah, I think Mike Cooper breaks tackles, and I don't know that any of the others do. And Bullock can break a tackle, but
on his first two carries, then he's knackered and can't misses every tackle and gets high shots.
Yeah, whereas Mulhern, I mean, he sort of, I think it's one of those things, when they've got loads of hair and they get tackled, it sort of makes it gives them that
thousand hair do impress fans, don't they?
Yeah. But is he breaking tackles? I don't know that he is, and he's certainly not making huge meters. Not like Hill did, not in his pomp anyway.
Yeah.
Finding that gap between the defenders and getting through it, finding his front, quick play the ball. That's not happening. Philbin was doing that off the bench a few years ago, sort of making meters, and he's not anymore.
Yeah.
He's not making the meters. Clark's a tidy player. But he's not a game breaker.
No.
And neither's Magoulias. Magoulias seems to be like a forward come half back. He kind of he's a ball player, and he doesn't seem to have that grunt. What we need is a big fuck off prop, Nelson Asafa Solomona or whatever, like a big huge lump that you can.
There's only one Alex Walmsley in our division, isn't there?
We bought that guy, didn't we, from Featherstone, who's massive. And he's obviously
Harrison.
Did his ACL before he ever got a chance to play for us, and maybe he's that guy. I don't know, But yeah, I think maybe that's what happened. Maybe they were banking on him and coming through. I don't know, but yeah.
So we're saying beaten pack,
and Darryl Clark and
still
George Williams.
Clark, Williams, and Widdop and Rashford to be able to create stuff even behind a beaten pack, because George Williams created stuff for Wigan behind a beaten pack in 2018 and got them to a grand final and stuff. But so they're not performing either, are they?
No, they're not.
What do you think's the issue there? I've said so many times that they only seem to perform if one of Williams or Widdop's playing, but never when they're playing together. But why is that? There's no reason for that, surely.
There's definitely no reason for that. And Williams, played with Jack Whiting in the NRL, so he's used to playing with another half that's of equal or higher standing. Widdop, has played for Melbourne Storm, with superstars around him, and I can't remember who his house partner was at the Dragons, but probably somebody shit. the guy that went to Toronto.
Yes, I've forgotten
his name now, but yeah. But anyway, still, he's played for England with George Williams. Like he's played with. There's no reason why those two can't play together. He's been coached by an ex-halfback. I was expecting big things from them. Ultimately, the expectation at Warrington comes from the fact that we are the most expensively assembled team in Super League history. We've got to be, because both of those guys are on an absolute fortune, the marquee players, and we're up to cap. Probably beyond cap. Well, let's be fair, but
with the exemptions, you're allowed to use.
Yeah, absolutely, we are. Yeah, definitely.
Well, we're going to be on the finance cap, so will Saints, and so will Leeds be.
Yeah,
Leeds must be now.
But Wigan and Saints have got pots in the cupboard to show for it, and we haven't, and that's what that expectation comes from the fact that the fans know that Simon Moran's chucking this money into the team year after year. He's turning up, chucking this money in, and we're not getting the silverware as a back of it, and then it becomes a monkey on your back, and you don't know how much that's affecting the players, and obviously the crowd then gets on people's back as well. But
do you think it all builds in then as soon as something goes wrong? Because it does feel this year that Warrington struggle with adversity as a team on the field. Do you think it's like the fans almost expect them to struggle? It's kind of a self-fulfilling cycle there, that the fans get on the back quite quickly because they know that they get paid so much money, so much more money than the fans earn, so they go and watch them. And especially players like Widdop and Williams, and I guess Clark, Cooper, Rashford, they must be on decent whack as well for. Charnley, he seems to take a lot of it.
King signed a contract last year for 150 grand or whatever, and he's not played a decent game since, pretty much.
And so it builds, doesn't it? It builds and builds. So the frustration's so obvious in you, in what you're saying and how you're standing. What do you expect to start to happen? Do you see any glimmers? Because over Easter you had a good spell until the Wigan game. Do you see any glimmers, and what are you expecting to see and wanting to see as the season closes out? Now we're a third of the way through, effectively, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping as everybody does, you hope something clicks, don't you? Every team has had like dreadful starts to the seasons, and then all of a sudden something clicks, and then you can't lose, and I think everybody's hanging on to that, and they saw the performance against Salford, and it was like, well, that's a lot better, and then the losing performance against Hull was much better. Huddersfield didn't turn up, but we know we beat them. We beat what's in front of you, and it was a good performance, especially from some of our kids and stuff that was really pleasing to see. That's a massive
But the kids
thing.
Straight away out the side once the stars are back. That's
although Riley Dean did start against Wigan, and so I think we do.
But Wrench was straight out the side when have King, Matautia and everyone done enough to say we should be in?
No. I mean, Matauti he's a difficult player to get him. He gets like man of the match quite a lot, and it's made by the sponsors and what have you. But he seems to just crab sideways all the time.
He's on the ball a lot, though, isn't he? So I guess when you're looking for someone you can remember touching the ball,
he doesn't seem to. He doesn't get the ball out to Charnley as much as he should, and that's Charnley suffered from that a lot of the time. He's been at Warrington. Mamo never passed either, I just think defensively that side was so weak last year, and one of the reasons I was slightly optimistic was the fact that we'd replaced Memo, who was great in attack but a liability in defence, and half back gone to Leeds.
Austin,
bloody hell! Austin would defended on that side, and what say defended, and that was just it was just porous, and then we got
Williams is an outstanding defensive halfback generally.
He is, and then we've got Matauti, I assumed would be better, but attacking wise,
because you don't lack pace with
No, Ashton's rapid.
Clark, Ashton, Charlie. You don't lack pace.
Yeah.
Maybe you lack a bit of size. You don't lack skill.
No, we.
So it's a togetherness thing. It feels like it's people haven't the players. I kind of agree with the poll that the players mainly is where it's sitting at, because you've got to buy into the culture. You can't just turn up and get paid as a professional sports person and think that's good enough all the time, because fans want trophies.
Of course they do. And
owners want trophies.
And are anybody in that team? I don't know what the answer to this is, but are they staying behind and doing extras to try and sort of do that, or are they, the perception, like this Spice Boys perception, is that they're off taking pictures of themselves on Instagram and doing their little business ventures that they've got on the side and that kind of a thing. And I don't know, that might not be a fair perception. They might be absolutely sweating blood, but it sort of gives that impression.
Although you've got people like Cooper who would do a lot with their businesses on the side, but then put all the blood and sweat into the game every week.
Exactly. But it's a it's a tough thing. But King and Williams were having a big barney on the pitch at the Wigan game and things like that. So that feels like it's either that they're really passionate and they really care, and that's a good thing, or it's like there's like cracks showing and the sort of.
I felt Williams was doing a bit like what Hastings did for Wigan last year, which was trying to do everything himself but not bringing anyone along with him. In that game, and that, like, the stats bore that out. How many? I think he had the most carries anyone's had in a game this year, or the most touches, or something like that. But he didn't do anything with it other than make meters, but no impact. And it's an interesting one. I think that Powell will be given. Clearly, Powell's going to be given the year. I don't think there's any suggestion that he'll get sacked.
No.
I think he'll be given a full recruitment cycle.
Yeah.
And then. But you can't just keep looking for next year. Do you think you'll make the playoffs at this stage with 16 regular season games to go? You're in 7th place, just outside the playoffs. Do you think you will make the playoffs?
I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think that we are. We can't compete with. I mean, I think you mentioned it last week, but. We can't compete with Wigan, with Saints, and with Catalans at the moment. That sort of top echelon, and then there's the sort of the ones below that we will probably
FC who are inconsistent, Huddersfield who are not quite there yet but getting there, and then Hull KR, I don't know, lottery. Yeah,
we could struggle. However, if we do have that epiphany and all of a sudden turn it around and then start winning games. We've had seasons where we've been brilliant at the start of the year, absolutely killing teams, and then been shit at the end of the year. Maybe this is the year that we do it the other way around, and maybe we do make that's like the hope that kills you, isn't it? But what I've been more nervous of at the minute is knowing that I've got Catalans this weekend, we've got Saints after that, we've got teams below us that might have easier games, and maybe we. But
once you get through this 3-game period where you've had Wigan, who, to be honest, shouldn't be in that top 3 based on what we were expecting before the year. So that's what Matt Pete's done to turn them around. You've got Catalans and you've got Saints, who are the 2 benchmarks really at this stage. Then you almost then get the chance to refocus, don't you? Because you've got the Challenge Cup final weekend then, where you're off. So you've got another 2 weeks where you can refocus. So, in summary, from what you're saying, there's frustration there. You kind of think everyone's to blame, but there's hope is not lost.